Ladies and gentlemen, another year has passed and the time has come to show you all the wonderful Falcom related things that I have bought in 2014. Now, this year has been a really interesting year for me, Falcom collecting wise. On one hand, it's been awesome. On the other hand, it's been slightly disappointing. And I want to start off with the good. Thanks to one incredible individual, that being my good friend Taylor Murugaru553, he gave me a deal of a lifetime when he was getting rid of some of his Falcom stuff, and I actually did request a lot of it, I won't lie, and I was very gracious that he accepted and sent them my way, and I just wanted to say to him, thank you so much. Some of these things that I thought would take me years to find, and thanks to him, they're residing safely on my shelf and they look amazing on there. One of the Falcom series in particular, its shelf is maxed out. It's absolutely chock-a-block, and I now have to buy another shelf so I can sort of start to collect more of this one series, which you will see shortly. So that has been really good for me in that regard. And I've also been procuring stuff off, online sites, eBay, PlayAsia, all that good jazz, like I usually do. Now, for the not so good side of my Falcom collecting this year, I had the opportunity to procure one of my most requested items for my Falcom collection. The number one thing I want more than anything, and that was an original PC-88 copy of Ys 2, one of my favorite games of all time. When I finally saw it on eBay, I put my money down immediately, and I was so happy that I finally got it, and so I thought at that time. Basically, I thought the shipping price was a little bit cheaper, especially since the item was, it was quite a lot of money. It wasn't like into triple digits, but it was quite a lot of money. And I thought to myself, maybe the shipping is not that much because the item's so much. Then I found out that it was an eBay error and the seller wanted more money from me. At this point, I was really wary of what was going on, and I wasn't sure, but it was Ys 2. I wanted this more than anything, so I sent him some more money over PayPal. 6 weeks went by and I didn't hear anything from him. No notice. I didn't have a tracking number. I actually had a tracking number sent to me, but it didn't work. So at this point, I was like, oh, what have I done? I may have just pissed away all this money for nothing. And then I confronted him about it, and he said that the package was mysteriously sent back to, the country of origin. At that point, I thought, no way, man, no way. This is so weird. This has never happened to me before with eBay. So I just decided, no, I want my money back. Thankfully, the seller was gracious enough to give me all the money back, which was good, which was phew. So he was honest in that regard, which I thought was awesome. So I think it was the courier company to blame with. It was so shady, really shady, and I was so happy I could walk out of that scot-free, But at the same time, not being able to get my hands on that copy of Ys 2, it really devastated me. It really put a blow and really put a halt to Falcom collecting in 2014. At that point, I was done. I didn't want to think about it because it was so depressing, Hopefully in the future I can find another way to get a copy of Ys 2 for the PC-88. I'm pretty fanatical about trying to get PC-88 copies because I love Falcom so much. Because I love them so much, I want to get all their origin games, like all the original copies of each series they've ever done. Like, to get the PC-88 copy of Ys 1, that would mean so much to me because it literally was the very first Ys game ever made. I want to do that with Puffle Mail, Legend of Heroes, Sorcerian. I was so happy that just at the beginning of this year, I did get a PC-88 copy of another Falcom series that I'm going to show you once I show you all the footage of my Falcom collection. Alrighty, now is the moment you've been waiting for. here is my Falcom collection as of the end of 2014. But before I get into it, I want to share with you something special. I want to just show you my journey thus far with Falcom collecting ever since I started my channel in 2010. I hope you enjoy it. Alrighty guys, now unlike last year where I started at the top, I'm actually going to start at the bottom this year with all the miscellaneous series. I shouldn't call them miscellaneous series because there's so many awesome series that Falcom makes aside from East and Legend of Heroes. But the really awesome thing that happened to me last year was literally days after I did the last Falcom Collection video. Someone from England was selling these two on eBay, and I couldn't believe my eyes because I've never ever seen them before on eBay. And what these are is the Sharp X1 version of Xanadu, and what's even more fantastic is that PC 88 version of Dinosaur, which is the original version of the game. Dinosaur is a dungeon crawling game from Falcom, and it never really got much outside of this. A couple of other PC versions, and they did a second version a decade later, I think a decade and a bit later, called Dinosaur Resurrection. Never played them yet, but I'm really happy to get this, and I do want to try them out. I'm not usually one for dungeon crawling, but it's Falcom, and I will definitely try it out when I get the chance to. Ew. Here is one of the things that Taylor sent me is his Super Famicom version of Brandish, and this is the very first version of Brandish that I do own, and there is a lot of different versions out there that I want to collect. I know Xseed is getting ready to release the PSP version on PSN. Hopefully that happens soon because I'll definitely download it and play it as soon as possible. One of the coolest things I did this year, and I promised last year that I would, is finally buy one of the versions of Pop for Mail. This is my third favorite Falcom series. The problem with the Pop for Mail series in terms of collecting is most of the versions are really expensive. And the Super Famicom version is actually the cheapest, and the Super Famicom version is actually really awesome. I do highly recommend it for a Super Famicom game. It's absolutely beautiful, and the music, of course, it's Falcom, you can't go wrong. It's one of the better Falcom games on the Super Famicom. Got my trusty copy of Sorcerian, you already know about that. Here is a copy of Vantage Master Japan, and Vantage Master is Falcom's strategy RPG series, and it's pretty hectic, it's a pretty challenging one, and it's really cool that in the different versions of Vantage Master you usually have some awesome cameos, like in the PSP version of Vantage Master, they have a good deal of the Trails in the Sky characters in it, which is pretty awesome. Got the usual down here. Now this is something cool that Taylor also sent me. It is a Legend of Heroes Gagav Trilogy mousepad. Now I would have put this on the shelf above, but I actually don't have any room, as you're about to see in a second. Now look at this. It is filled to the brim. I cannot fit another thing in there unless I like fit some stuff up there, but it would look a bit tacky. Basically, this is one of the big things, a couple of big things that Taylor sent me is a PC 98 version of Legend of Heroes 2. And if I can pull it out here, we have Shiroki Majo on the Saturn. This is a very interesting version of Legend of Heroes 3 Shiroki Majo. It is made by Hudson Soft of all people, and as you know, Falcom and Hudson Soft had a really good relationship of making games on the TurboGrafx 16, the PC Engine, and I thought it was really cool to finally have a go at this game. It reminds me a lot of Breath of Fire 3. It's got the same graphics engine, it's nearly identical. Really awesome version. I probably will try it out a bit more in the future, but I'm kind of busy playing the PSP version, which is kind of the go-to version of Moonlight Witch that I just want to play. Speaking of Moonlight Witch, here's an XP version of the game. When Taylor sent me this, I was a tad bit giddy because I've always wanted one of these awesome PC Falcom games from the 90s, early 2000s, and it's just absolutely stunning. And right next to it is Legend of Heroes 5, which is the Cage Song of the Ocean, and this was the final game they released in the Gagav trilogy, and it's really awesome to have like a huge big box like that. I really love big box PC games because of just all the artwork and just how good it looks, and hopefully I can find a way to play it in the future, because last year I've got all the Gagav games on the PSP. Now you may notice, what, you got another special edition from Xseed? Yes and no. There's my Xseed one that I absolutely love. This one is from Ghostlight, and I got it this year because I just wanted to get as many Trails in the Sky things as humanly possible, and it was going for a good deal, and I just snagged it up, and it's pretty awesome. Keep going. And now we come to the last edition for the Falcom Collection, and it is Legend of Heroes Sen no Kiseki 2 Special Edition. And I'm actually kind of proud of myself. This is the only Legend of Heroes game that I have not spoiled myself yet. Usually somehow, either by my dumb sense of curiosity or I'm just unlucky when I watch the wrong video at the wrong time, I usually spoil a little bit of the Kiseki series. Thankfully, this is the only game I don't know anything about, and I'm going to keep it that way so I've got something to look forward to. And this is the last on the timeline, so really looking forward to the day I can finally play Sen no Kiseki 2. And now we come back home to my pride and joy, my East collection. Now as you can see, it doesn't look like it's changed too much, but if you look over here, what is that? This is a box set of all the PS2 East games, and this is probably one of the craziest things I got this year, because I found most of them for an absolute bargain, and I was so happy to. Basically, you get this box with East 3, Wanderers from East, PS2, it's a special edition, and it's got enough space to fit every East game that's on the PS2. And what's really interesting about that is this is made from Taito, yet they gave you enough space for 2 other different East games that were made by 2 different other developers, because you've got East 1 and 2 from DigiCube, and you've got East 6 from Konami. But they were gracious enough to put space aside for both of them, which I think is really awesome for them to do. And then you've got this nice little East collection, 1 to 6, all in this one box. Just absolutely phenomenal. Alrighty, next up is this nice little piece I got from an Australian eBay seller, and that is a Windows Vista copy of East Felgana. This year I kind of went on a big binge of trying to get as much Felgana stuff as possible, and I saw this little piece here for really cheap, and I could not pass it up. I'm trying to get as many versions, as many releases of all the Ys games, and Falcom Collection was one of those games I just decided to tackle this year because it's one of my favorite Ys games. It's just so much fun to play. I periodically go back to playing the Steam release whenever possible, when I've just got some free time and just want to have some fun. Speaking of Falcom Collection, here's a really nice piece that I got with something very special I'm going to show you at the end of the video. And this comes a part of it, and is the premium music CD box in Falcom by Falcom. I love that little piece there. It is an 8-disc soundtrack. It is quite literally the biggest soundtrack that I own in not just my Falcom collection, just my games collection in general. It's just massive, and I've listened to all of it, and I can easily say that it is well worth every cent. It's just absolutely amazing. I could do a video just reviewing the soundtrack alone. Alrighty, next, I was really shocked to see this got a release in Australia, and that is a game I cannot get enough of, and that is Ys, The Memories of Celceta, one of the better versions of the Ys 4 story. I'm just shocked that this actually got an Australian release. The last Australian release Ys game was Ark and the Pistum on the PS2 and the PSP, and I never thought we'd ever see a local release of an Ys game ever again, and I was just so shocked and was so delighted that I had to support it. And I think that will probably be one of the last things I get for Memories of Celceta for a while. Speaking of Ys 4, I found some really cool stuff this year, such as this guidebook. And it is a guidebook for Ys 4 Dawn of Ys on the PC Engine. And what's really cool about this is it's a strategy guide, but it also contains some awesome artwork and some manga pieces, and they are incredible, and I'm really glad I got it. I got it for really cheap off an eBay seller. Normally what it goes for is actually quite pricey, so I was really happy that I could find it a lot more cheaper than it was, and it's really awesome. And to finally round off my Ys 4 section is the game that was canon in the series for a very long time, Ys 4 Mask of the Sun. Now, I would probably go out on a limb to say this is my least favorite of all the Ys 4 games, but it's still a pretty decent game, and it does some things differently that I was appreciative of, and I still think the game is worth playing. The music is from Tonkin House, and it's kind of questionable. There is some good tracks though, so it's probably one of the best soundtracks that Tonkin House sort of remade, but still. I do recommend Mask of the Sun. It's a pretty good game, but I do recommend Dawn of Ys and Memories of Celceta over it. Alrighty, next up is this copy of Ys 1 and 2 Complete for Windows XP. This was the version that you would get for Windows before it became Ys 1 and 2 Chronicles, and this was another thing that Taylor sent me in the package. It's really, I'm really happy to have this. It's really awesome. Speaking of Ys 1 and 2, probably one of the coolest things ever is a Japanese version of my favorite Ys game of all time, Ys Books 1 and 2 for the PC Engine. I am absolutely over the moon to finally get this. I know it's going to be a couple more years before I can get a TurboGrafx CD version of this, but really, really happy to have this. And lastly, for the shelf is a copy of Ys 2 for the Famicom. Once again, not a big fan of the Famicom Ys games, but for Famicom games, I guess they're alright. But I'm more happy to have this on the collecting standpoint. I've already finished the game, and there's better versions of Ys 2, honestly, so I'd only get it if you're a collector, nothing more. And lastly, the pièce de résistance. Here's some two special editions you already know about, my Naruto no Kiseki and Exceed Ys Memories of Celceta special edition. But
we go along. Look at these beauties. First up, this is without a doubt the best thing that Taylor sent me in the package. And I did. I absolutely begged for this, and it is a first run special edition copy of Ys the Ark of Nepishtim. This literally is the original version of the game on Windows XP. I am absolutely over the moon that I was able to get this. This is one of my holy grails, and it's absolutely beautiful. It comes with a lot of things. Like, one of the biggest things that it comes with is a disc that actually contains various versions of Ys 1 to 5. So literally, anyone who bought this special edition can basically jump into the series and play Ys 1 to 5 on this one disc, then play Ys 6. And I think that's amazing. What's really cool is Ys 1 to 3 are the original PC 88 versions, which is just amazing that they created an emulator to run on the Windows system for that. And then Ys 4 and 5 is Mask of the Sun and Kethan on, I assume, the Super Famicom, which is kind of interesting to note because they would have to sign something with Nintendo to do that, but who knows? It's pretty awesome nevertheless. The other CD was just equally as awesome. It was a history CD that showcased various sort of like information of the series, music videos from JDK, and various advertisements for different Falcom games during the 90s. And I actually saw the ad for Pop for Mail for the Super Nintendo, or I should say Super Famicom, and that led me to go on eBay and buy a copy. I was like, man, I really need Pop for Mail in my life. I need it part of this collection. And yeah, it's just really awesome. It was just well worth every cent. I know you're probably saying to me, well, Greg, don't tell us, show us. And I will say this, I think I'll save it for another video and just pull out all the contents and show what you are getting when you buy it. But next to it is probably my most favorite thing that I bought in 2014. And as you saw before, I showed you the premium music box that comes in this, and it is the first run premium special limited edition of Ys of Felghana. This is the quintessential PC box that you need in your collection. I don't know what it's made out of, but it's made of like, oh, I'm not really good with material names, but it's made out of this like shiny sort of plastic material, and it's absolutely beautiful. Like the Open Felghana symbol is like embossed, like it's like some ancient sort of carving. It's just absolutely astoundingly beautiful. I got this from a Aussie eBay seller, and I won't lie, I paid an exorbitant amount of money for it. But I will say this now, it was just well worth every cent. And in 2014, I was so blessed to get two of my most requested things for my Falcom collection. I was just so happy. You know, I don't have the means to actually play the discs in here, but in all honesty, Open Felghana on Steam is this version right here, so I have played it. As for E6, the Ark of Nepishtim, I've played the PS2 and PSP versions so many times, you know, I just wanted the original version. Hopefully in the future, XC can find a way to put this on Steam, and you will be able to, you'll all be able to play it in glorious 60 frames per second, and it will be awesome. So, guys, that is my Falcom collection for 2014.
So that's it, guys. I did get a lot of stuff this year, and as you can see, I'm over the moon with those two big box Ys PC games. You know, I gotta thank Taylor once again for selling that to me. It's one of my great holy grails, as was the limited edition of Ys Open Felghana. And it sort of got me really addicted to getting these big box PC games, there is an allure to them that drives collectors crazy. And, you know, I do say that I like to play all the games I get. You know, I'm a gamer before I'm a collector, and I like to play as much as I can. But in the case of like these big boxes, I've already played Open Falcom many times. I have played E6 Ark and Piston many times. I love these games so much. I want to get every version for these games possible because I love them so much. In 2015, I thought that I was going to take a break for Falcom collecting due to all these high quality RPGs that I want to play day one. But with the recent announcements that Falcom's got planned for 2015, I don't think I'll be taking a break. I shall be Falcom collecting well and truly into 2015 and beyond. So guys, thank you for watching this. This is the final video for 2014. I hope you can come back in 2015 and share the wonderful love of all things Falcom and all things RPG. So until then, enjoy your new year. Have a good one. Oh, that's right, I totally forgot. I usually do something at the end of the videos, and it usually goes something like this. Rock on and rush out.